Here we go.
Okay, I'd like to call to order the city council meeting, City of Bel Air Beach, Florida, Monday, August 3rd, 2015. All stand for the pledge, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Mayor, may I ask, I'm hard of hearing,
Yeah.
ask you,
Please,
if council members would
All right.
speak into the microphone a little closer, please.
Sure. We'll do.
And the system is not too good.
Yeah. We'll do.
Thank you.
All right, Patty, can you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Gerald Cohen. Here. Councilmember Pamela Gunn. Here. Councilmember John Petrowski.
Here.
Councilmember Wanda Schwer.
Here.
Vice Mayor Leslie Gotera. Here. Mayor Rob Baldwin.
Here.
City Manager Nancy Gonzalez.
Here.
Community Improvement Officer Jack White.
Here.
And Councilmember Mitchell Prock and City Attorney Paul Marino were unable to attend.
Thank you, Patty. Do I have a motion for approval of the agenda? So moved. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Do I have approval for the July 6, 2015 City Council meeting minutes?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Citizens' comments. Each speaker will be recognized once and be limited to a 3-minute presentation on any subject that is not on the agenda. Is there anyone from the public who would like to speak? Okay, seeing no one, we'll close the citizens' comments. Regular agenda item number 4, authorization to enter into agreement between Bel Air Beach and the sheriff.
Yes, the backup is in your agenda packet. There is a page that gives a cost explanation for the cost per deputy, and there was a slight increase of 2.16%. And we do have Sheriff Gualtieri here, so if any of you have any questions, I'm sure he would be happy to answer them.
I have one question. Sheriff, how often do the deputies stop and talk to residents? How much neighborhood kind of policing are we doing?
No, I think they're out there quite a bit. I see them out there. In fact, as I was coming here tonight, I was looking at the deputy was logged on. He's in one of the neighborhoods on the phone area check. So I think that you see them out there quite a bit. And it's primarily, of course, Bel Air Beach is all residential. It's a total residential community. So that's what it's all about. And I think that they are out there. I see them out there. If there's a need that's not being met, by all means, let us know. And we'll adjust what we're doing and do more of it and do it better. But I do see them.
Wanda, can I say something to that? I do encourage the deputies, every time they come in, they're there for the residents, they're to be patrolling the streets, not sitting on Causeway Boulevard. And I've been pleased with them.
Are they stopping and talking when they see people?
I believe they are. I know we've got one deputy that carries dog biscuits, and hands those out, and the residents just love that. And he does stop and talk, and I think probably the ones that are out there more are the 3 to 11 shift deputies, because that's when our residents go home.
Well,
I
it's
do
probably
encourage that.
one of the biggest challenges we have is that it's with the relief efforts. And it's always been a situation, there's 13 cities in Pinellas County who contract with us to be their police provider. And deputies who are assigned these cities regularly are assigned regularly, and they're familiar, people are familiar with them. Probably the greatest challenge we have, I'm not saying it's a problem, but the greatest challenge we have are those that come in on those 2 days that they're off to relieve. And some of them are coming from their assignments in the county area, some are coming from other cities where the expectations are different, because each city is different and unique. One of the things we're working on now, and I was going to say that we're working on it, is a plan to eliminate that problem and to have the deputies who are here be here all the time, so you don't have that relief, and come up with a different type of schedule that will eliminate the relief deputy concept. And we'll share more on that as we develop it. But it's something I hear consistently, so I want to try and address it.
Right, and that was one thing I was going to bring out, just sort of that consistency that wasn't always there between deputies. And that was one thing I think that sort of missed about having our own department. We have somebody that get here for years and you know, and I don't know, I mean, I know it's a struggle, agency-wide, but it would be good if we could come up with, or you could help them up with this.
Yeah, well, and we're gonna work on it and see what we can do. You know, it's just the nature of it. We've had a lot of attrition, a lot of turnover in the last couple of years. And people do move on, but consistency is important, stability is important, familiarity is important, and all of those. So it's always a balance. Of course, as people develop in their careers, we all want, you want, citizens want, everybody wants to see them move into other opportunities and to grow and professionally mature. But at the same time, we've got to have stability and for familiarity in the city. So it's a balance, but we're going to work on that. And so I've got some ideas and some ways that we might be able to cut that down so that you don't have those relief people coming in. So they're only here for one day, and then you don't ever see them for weeks, or you don't ever see them again, or all those kinds of things. So we're going to work on that here in the next few months. Perhaps we'll have something. They just changed, the deputies just change shifts. They change shifts twice a year in July and in January. We just went through a shift change. The next one will be in January. So my goal is to to have something in place before January. So we're going to work on it.
Any other questions?
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, you're welcome.
So Nancy, I know it's enough, this is budgeted.
Correct, that's in the budget, yes.
Okay. So this is currently budgeted on that budget.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, so do I have a motion for approval of the authorizing agreement between the city and the sheriff? Second? All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Item number 5, update on code enforcement by community officer Jack.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First, I'll try to address a couple of issues that have been brought to my attention by, the council members that are with us this evening, like 2230 Donato Drive. One of the council members sent me an email concerning the condition of the front of the residence and everything. I sent us, I tagged the residents and sent a certified letter back in the 14th of this month, and have yet to receive any response from the homeowner. And I just found out that the reason we haven't received any response is that the residence is in foreclosure by the bank. So now I have another avenue to pursue. And, starting tomorrow morning, I'll go ahead and contact the bank and get done what we need to get done to get the property up to stat. Also, conducting an investigation at the corner of Alita and Donato Drive. The second one, about a couple of months ago, one of the council members brought it to my attention that a citizen had approached them and was concerned about the resident operating a business out of his residence. At that time, I went and spoke to the homeowner, and he assured me that business was being operated out of his residence. Recently, within the last couple of weeks, we had a resident send Miss Nancy pictures of the resident, of the vehicles, parked in the driveways, which are all parked legally. There are none on the street. The vehicles that they have numbered and lettered and went to all the expense to duplicate and send me a copy of also, are all legally parked. They belong to the homeowner, his sons, his girlfriend, his full-time maid. Occasionally his accountant comes. Occasionally his girlfriend's girlfriend comes and, hangs out with her at the pool. And it's really none of anybody's business, you know, who comes and goes from the residence, because it's his home, it's his castle, and just like y'all, you know, we don't control who visits who, you know, in the city, and the people that, or the person that sent all this, that is the concerned Bel Air Beach homeowner, is probably not a homeowner in fact, but maybe a renter. And she or he says this ordinance violation is obvious and it is an eyesore to the neighborhood and reflects upon our property values. But one thing she said in here to kind of run them out there a little bit, it says it displays the lack of code enforcement for violations in our community. If y'all look at these pictures right here and find a violation anywhere, I will be more than happy to come in any day you want to at no charge and address the violation. But these are all the man's and his children's vehicles that are here. If y'all want to look at them closer or have them, I'm going to destroy them anyway, but they're those ages. Yeah, I sure will. That's his vehicle and his mate's vehicle. That's his vehicle. That's his vehicle, mate's vehicle, and his son's vehicle. And that's his vehicle. So there we go.
So Jack, was that the only complaint, just the vehicles coming and going, there was no noise, no other ancillary issues?
No, it just says that I've been a Bel Air Beach resident for a few years. I've reviewed the code ordinances that specifically state no commercial businesses can be operated from a private Bel Air Beach residence, which is true. There's a rule. But I want somebody to, you know, to explain to me that the parking of a vehicle constitutes, you know, any kind of code violation as long as it's not on the grass and not in the street and it's parked in your driveway, it's not a violation. Now, there are 2 or 3 of the employees of this man's business that is located on Donegan Road that ride to work with his son in the mornings, okay? They you know, like carpool because they live up on this end instead of driving all the way down there from where they live. They meet there, 2 or 3 of them do, and ride with his son. But that's not operating a business, we think. So I'm going to put that one to rest, but this Nancy knows that whenever we get a complaint of any kind, I follow it up. And even though this person didn't leave any contact or anything, they were so concerned, they didn't leave me any contact information, but we investigated it anyway, and there is no code violation. And the man didn't have to cooperate with me at all, but he was very, very nice, you know, to me, you know, because I, you know, the way that I approached him, you know. And he feels also that it was one of the neighbors that are close by. And so they just, you know, trying to get me around the axe one, but it ain't happening. 2192 Louisa, which has been our problem child on that street for quite some time. That home is officially in foreclosure, and the company Cyprex out of Tampa I've been dealing with, I've notified them of our new ordinance that y'all passed that came, you know, effective, you know, the first part of this month. I've sent them copies of that, and I've advised them that, you know, once they pass that 30-day threshold, that they can be charged, you know, the $180 fine and cost of court per day for every day that they're in violation, that the tarp is on the house or it's not, you know, being completed. So they contacted the bank, and the bank, of course, has had it out on the bids. And by me sending them that, they felt that that would speed up the process. So I'm looking to hear from them in the next few days, really. As far as the vegetation and other things that were problems on the property, since the house, is in foreclosure and the bank can make decisions on it now, they are addressing those issues all the time and have done so this past week, with the exception of some hedges along the north property line that will be taken care of, as soon as it ever stops raining over here. Let's see, the Gulf Boulevard, the big house here on the corner of Gulf and Causeway, that is finally also in foreclosure. Thank goodness. And the bank sent an insurance adjuster out just this past week. I had to call the sheriff's office because I found an open door. They wouldn't, nobody would come outside. I didn't know if they were our drug dealers that were caught in there before, sleeping in there. So I, had the deputy come, and he got another deputy. They went and searched the house, and the guy came outside and talked to me and everything. And I guess what the bank is trying to do is, get money from insurance for, damages and stuff that are in the house, so they can go in and start addressing the issues that I've given to them that need to be corrected. So hopefully that'll be another thing that's going to go away soon. And since we've been having so much rain, I've been conducting, NEPIDS inspections more than, 2 or 3 times a week. It's required that every time we have a major rain, that they be re-inspected, for any silt or other contaminants leaving the property, going in our storm sewer system. And I've really, really tried to stay on top of that. It's really been a priority rather than how tall someone's grass has been, due to the fact that the state of Florida and the federal government can fine the city and the violator, up to $250,000 a day. And to me, that kind of money takes precedence over an overgrown lawn. And so once the rain settles back, things will get back to normal. And just so you know, to save anybody from calling me, I'm going to kind of slack off a little bit for the next week or so on people's lawns, due to the fact that we've had so much rain, to give the lawn services and the homeowners themselves time enough to, to catch up with everything, because it's growing, so fast. One of our council people contacted me about construction sites being overgrown and everything, and there's nothing in our ordinance to stipulate anything other than during the event of a hurricane, them actually having to do much of anything except construct the building. But I went around to all of them and explained that it would look better for them as a business. And keep in mind, I put stop work orders on about 80% of our contractors that are in the city, so they kind of listen to me when I ask them anything. And so I asked them real nice, and every single contractor at every site in this city has cut the grass and cleaned the properties up. And it's just, all in the way of explaining to them, if I was a prospective home buyer, I would want my construction company to be meticulous in building my home, and a way to display, you being meticulous is how you conduct your business during the day. And if I ride by and see a nice clean construction site, I know someone cares about what they're doing enough, to keep things cleaned up. And so that was my little sales pitch to all the people that want to do business in our city. So everybody's complied, and I'm tickled to death with what we've done. Does anybody have any questions or anything?
covered everything.
And our boat trailer's gone too, sir. Thank you.
I have one thing to add to that. Alan, of course, is not here tonight, but I had wanted Jack and Alan to tell council that right now we've got about 5 or 6 new site plans for new construction. We also are having calls, we've had calls about, I haven't even told you, about both of the vacant lots on both of you. So, people are wanting to build, which in turn is causing more work for Alan. And once these projects get started, it's going to be more work for Jack, more sites that he has to go to check for NPDES. We didn't budget any money for any overtime, but I just want you to know that things are going to start picking up. At least 5 to 6 more houses are going to be within the next year. So it is a good thing. Thank you,
All
Jack.
right, good. Thank you, Jack. All righty. Item number 6, consideration of reappointment to the Delaware Beach Parking Rec Board. Penny?
Mr. Allen Ben's term on the board is expiring, and he has expressed an interest in being considered for reappointment. Mr. Mintz is out of town at this time, but he would still like to be reappointed. So staff is asking.
I have a motion for appointment. Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Item number 7, consideration of reappointment to the Delaware Beach Board of Adjustment. Penny?
And Ms. Martha Vasquez's term on the Board of Adjustment is also expiring, and we've asked her to, be reappointed. And Ms. Vasquez? Yes. So we're.
Martha? That's great. I have a motion.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Thank you. Okay, the item number 8, continued discussion on undergrounding of utilities citywide. So Paul's not here today. We had asked him to take a look at some things to see how we might structure some potential funding. And I know Leslie, you also were going to look at some things. So I just want to sort of open it up for discussion. We need to continue with the momentum, either through council or through setting up such a workshop or whatever. So anyway, I just open the floor and have any thoughts or ideas.
Are we considering establishing?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess that we could open it back up. I mean, we sort of talked about having council maybe set up a workshop, and maybe out of that workshop, there might be a need for the committee. But I mean, we want to keep the momentum. The idea was not to stop it after the beautification committee was resolved. It really is sort of a separate issue. So yeah, I think that's open. It's on the table.
I think the real issue now is how are we going to fund it? That's the main problem. And I know Paul has been looking into bonding. There are a couple of law firms in the area that are known for their municipal bonding practices. So I would suggest that we, and I'm guilty, I said I still am looking into grants, but I've been smart with it. We maybe move it off. Maybe put it back for another month, but when Paul is here, I'll have some more information next month.
Are there any grants that possibly we can get for that?
There may be some, yes. There are some sources. Dr. Berg gave me a list of places that there may be sources. This week I'm going to the Florida League of Cities, this month to the Florida League of Cities convention in Orlando. And I'm hoping to put out some feelers up there to other people who've done it, where they got their monies, and see what's going on up there. That's one of my main goals is going up to this meeting.
It'd be a great place to find out.
Yes.
Yeah, and I mean, I know there's still strong interest in the community to do this, and so I think the best thing maybe is to carry over the connection on the call here and ask them to do some more fact finding on set up for the zones that we talked about.
Get enough information.
Right. Okay, so we'll add that to the agenda item for next month, and then we'll try to gather some more facts instead of workshop. Okay, mayor and council comments, John?
I got a couple, first I want to say, Callan isn't here, his mother passed away, so just want to give her when he gets back, I'd like to have him possibly look into getting new AC systems and so on there, and kind of defeating the purpose of no installation in ceiling. And so, just getting all that heat transmitted through the ceiling. So if we, talking about possibly looking into it, get some prices on getting insulation for the building. I talked to the person a couple of times, and we discussed a couple of things about possibly putting fans up in there, keep the air moving and so on. If there's high enough walls up in there to do that, and get insulation on the ceiling. And some of the other cities in the area are looking into starting their meetings a little earlier. So I guess to make sure that you're not saying that's what they're going to do. There's at 5 o'clock. I just wonder if council had any comments and possibly moving our time up a little bit so that the girls don't have to stay here all night either.
Okay, any thoughts? Right, yeah, I mean, that would be a little harder for me. Yeah, I bet it would be. Well, let's take that.
Yeah. And I can understand, if we were a larger city, we usually, it's Mr. Corrigan and Dr. Ward and Marvin, and usually just Nancy and Wayne. It's always a surprise and a pleasure to have Martha here. But I think it's doable, but I will have Patty check with Mitch.
I think one of the issues that distinguishes us from them is being on their council is their job. As opposed to our council, it's not our job, it's a lot more volunteer positions, so we have to be a little more sensitive to working around those things.
Martha Vasquez, 2500 Gulf Boulevard. I really would discourage you from changing it because right now, with the people on the council, that would work for the most part, but you're going to eliminate people running for council to work full time. Because getting here before 6 o'clock, if they normally work until 5, can be difficult.
That's a good point. All right, so we'll go ahead and start off. John, anything else? Cheryl?
I went to the Big C meeting last week, and this time I came away with some things to talk about. Derek Palladino from Madera Beach is also the president of the Pinellas County Mayor's Council. And that wonderful ethics training we all had to go through the last couple of months? The Mayor's Council agreed, and he has sent a letter to the Pinellas County Commission, and I think he's forwarding it on to the state, saying that this annual class is excessive, harsh, demeaning, and unnecessary. He's asking that the continuing education and ethics legislation that was passed in 2014 perhaps be amended to state that upon election or re-election, the ethics course must be taken, or at least every other year, not annually. And everybody on the Big C board agreed with that. And luckily, Senator Brandis was there, and Representative Ahern was there, and Representative Peters were there. So they all heard the wishes, and they kind of blinked. So I don't know what that means. So we'll see. Anyway, the sales tax holiday is going to be August 7th through 16th. So what's that, 10 days? So make note. We also had a representative come and talk about the lighting for turtles. There's at the Florida Wildlife Commission, FWC.com, there's a lot of links on the laws and regulations protecting sea turtles and the guidelines and protection ordinances and potential sources of funding to improve lighting. And also darksky.org has some information on lighting to protect the babies. Also, I think they said that the gestation period is like 53 days. So when you go around and you see the turtle nest, they have a little date on there when they put the stakes up. About 53 days from that date is when you would expect to see baby turtle hatching. So I should have known that. I'll look at that date more. We also had a representative from the Gulf Coast Bird Rescue show up, and because of the problems at Seacoast Bird Sanctuary, Gulf Coast Bird Rescue is working with the county and other organizations to acquire, I think it's like 5 acres of land to actually build a very nice rescue with hospital facilities and education facilities. They're working with the school board as well to have an education building and work with interns from PTEC or from the other little school over there on how to work with the birds, do some veterinary practice, and hands-on practice. So that was really interesting. Gulf Coast Bird Rescue.org if you want to see what's going on over there. And finally, last but not least, Bill Smith, who is a commissioner in Indian Shores, is also our representative on the Florida Shore and Beach Preservation Association. And he passed out a flyer for the 59th annual conference for FSBPA and made a pitch for representation from each of the beach cities to show up, to show them that we are interested and that we care enough to actually attend their conferences. So that was a good meeting. Glad I took notes last time. That's all. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Leslie.
This afternoon, I happened to run into our former mayor, Kathy Mortensen, and she said to me, I wanted to tell you how great the video has been online. She said, it's just been wonderful. I said, well, can you hear people? She goes, yeah, as long as they're talking into their mics. But she said, the quality is very good, so hands off to our video guy. She says, well worth what you're doing for them. I attended a Suncoast League of Cities advocacy team meeting a couple of weeks ago, and we went over some of the issues that they're going to be addressing with our legislators in Tallahassee, including things such as the communication service tax, the importance of home rule, that the guys in Tallahassee don't try to take away the city's control of their own cities. And we also discussed the public records requests and some of the abuses that have been made of the law. And I'm going to be part of a team that's going to work to, as I say, tighten up those laws. Because some individuals have sort of made a career out of making public records requests, filing suit, and then the cities will say, fine, here's some money to settle. So we're trying to correct some of the problems with that rule. As I said, I'm going in a couple of weeks to the Suncoast League of Cities, or excuse me, the Florida League of Cities meeting, and we'll hopefully get some contacts on some money for our beach renourishment and other issues that affect like all the cities in the state. So, that's all I got.
All right, great, thank you. The only thing I had, and I don't know, Nancy, if you're gonna have somebody with this storm pattern, if it ever stops, have somebody go do an assessment on the beach, look at the debris, make sure we have clean parts, or who knows what. I mean, it just seems like there ought to be an assessment, and maybe also look and see how much sand broke.
Yeah.
Because I've got a feeling we've lost quite a bit.
I did speak with John Bishop about that last week. I usually talk to him about it every week, and the condition of the beach and the erosion and the next nourishment funding cycle and things like that. So I'll probably call him tomorrow and find out. Well, actually, I'll wait till after this stops and call him and say, what condition our beach is at, how much did we lose? And when I talked to him last, which was last week, he thought they were looking good, but now what's happened? So I will talk to him.
All right, that's all I had.
I have two things that probably we will be discussing in September. I don't know if we'll approve it. Back in December, I received from Pinellas County Emergency Management ordinance that the county wants to do on housing for an emergency. Treasure Island has opted out of that. They have their own ordinance. So we will be discussing that. They're in no rush to do it, but the county did want to know how many cities have passed it. The second thing is I received a letter from Pam DeBose and Diane Nelson, the tax collector and property appraiser's website offices, who are wanting all the municipalities to enter into a local agreement with those two agencies to take a look at the homestead tax fraud that is fairly rampant in our county. It's gotten so big that those two agencies cannot handle the investigation themselves. So they're looking at hiring a third-party company who would actually try to find this fraud that's going on, and that company would charge the county 30% of whatever they find for their fee. And that's really all I know about it. I have asked if either Pam DeBose or Amanda Coffey could come and speak on this at the September meeting, so we know a little bit more about it. But I did have lunch with a lot of the beach city managers last Thursday, and they have all said that they are going to go ahead and enter into the interlocal agreement, as well as look into the other ordinance from emergency management. So I just wanted to let y'all know that those two things will be coming in September. And Paul has been working on both of those as well.
Okay. One thing on that, I mean, could you see if you could find another community that's actually allowed to? I had this vision of like special agents, part-time people.
No other city. Yeah,
Could you see if you could? Because I like to hear what it sounds good on the surface.
Right. No other city, because I did. The lady's name is Renee Vinson, and I did email her and say, have any other cities opted out of this ordinance other than Treasure Island? And she emailed me back and said no, but she would continue to get updates and let me know. So I just wanted to let you know that this is something that we are going to be taking a look at.
But if you could find a city where this agency is working for this sort of thing.
Okay.
I'm sure.
Sure.
Okay.
I will do that.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay. That's
I forgot one thing. A month or so ago, we had the workshop on the traffic congestion issues. And if you remember, Cookie Kennedy was here and she said she was going to approach the folks from Clearwater to see what they could do. And I saw her a couple weeks ago and she said, well, she did have a meeting with Mayor Creticos, and he told her that they are building a parking facility over on the beach. So hopefully that will alleviate some of the parking. I don't know. That's about all she had. But she did talk to him. And they made the
treasure.
yeah.
What happened to the sign?
I have been in touch, actually Rodney followed up on some of the questions that were asked, especially about the signs that we discussed, possibly maybe having them somewhere on West Bay Drive, alerting drivers that, hey, there's a 45-minute wait taking the Bel Air Beach Causeway Bridge to Clearwater Beach. And he gave me the name of another person, Ken Jacobs, who I have spoken with, and he's getting together with other people in the county. He did tell me, though, that the signs that they have currently are on West Bay Drive near Highland, and that they're mainly used for only for evacuation or if there's a bad accident. But anyway, he is looking into it. I asked him to please keep me updated and posted on what it is that they're going to be looking at doing. So I've talked to him. I'm waiting.
All right, anything else? Okay. Motion, Peter?
So moved.
All right, we're adjourned.